Whew, 120 beats per minute and 830 pace. This is gonna look great on Strava. As a serious runner, I know that heart rate training can be an effective way to train. Plus, heart rate data is another way to show everyone what a great runner I am. Now you might think that I care about precision because of how much attention I pay to other numeric things such as pace and split times and how I study the VDOT tables in Jack Daniel's running formula. However, for heart rate training, I'll use the highly inaccurate formula of 220 minus my age to determine my max heart rate. But then I'll use that inaccurate number to set some very precise heart rate zones, and I'll be a slave to those numbers. Why would I listen to my body when I can listen to my watch? Even if I somehow knew my actual max heart rate, I'm still going to rely on very questionable technology, such as the optical heart rate monitor in my watch. If my watch happens to read a low average heart rate by mistake, I'll be sure to call that out on Strava. But on days when it reads a little bit higher, I'll say something like, heart rate a little wonky, or I'll pile on the excuses, or I'll just set the activity to private. I can't risk my followers thinking I've lost fitness or that I'm overtraining. When my watch says that I was above lactate threshold for 2 or 3 hours, which is pretty much physically impossible, it's a sign that I shouldn't take this data too seriously. But I do anyway. Having erroneous data that says I can redline an entire marathon just goes to show how tough I really am. The MAF method is quite popular. It basically says to keep your heart rate under 150 beats per minute. But I don't use it. I don't want to slow down that much on my easy runs or even get close to a walking pace. That's for hobby joggers. But this makes sense. Dr. Maffetone's background is in triathlon, which is a sport that you do when you're not actually a fast runner. I'll occasionally spend time on Strava looking at the heart rate data of pro runners, and I'll get extremely envious of them. If I'm being honest though, sometimes I will do an easy run and purposefully keep my heart rate below a certain level, which was determined by my inaccurate assessment of max heart rate. I'll call this a fat burning run on Strava. This both provides a reason why I'm running so slow and makes other people feel self-conscious about their own weight. If you're a serious runner like me, then you've noticed that your resting heart rate can be quite low. So low in fact that doctors often tell me I have bradycardia, in which case I enjoy the irony because I'm more healthy than the doctor. Resting heart rate is something that's really easy to get competitive about. Yo, I bet my resting heart rate is lower than yours.
Mine is definitely lower.
I don't think so, bro.
Yeah? Whip out your watch and let's compare.
Because I'm a glutton for training data, heart rate variability gives me a way to obsess about heart rate data 24/7. And it gives me another inaccurate metric to worry about. If my heart rate variability is off, then I'm very concerned. Am I dehydrated? Was it that half a beer that I drank last night? Did I get enough sleep? Maybe I shouldn't have stayed up all night looking at porn. Shoe porn, that is. Heart rate data also allows my Garmin to tell me when I'm being unproductive or overtraining. In this case, I'll pivot completely and just ignore the data. I mean, what does the watch know anyway? How dare it presume to tell me how fast I can run a marathon, especially when it thinks that I can't break 220 or qualify for the Olympic trials. However, if my watch tells me I have a VO2 max of 70 or higher, then I'm going to believe it. After a hard day of training, my Garmin tells me that I need 40 hours to recover. Yeah, okay, I've actually got to get ready to do my double.